Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Open University.
Dear learner, all are welcome in Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University. Now we are discussing about MA-JMC paper code 07 and the paper name Reporting Skills, Print, Radio, TV and Digital. And now we are discussing about unit number 1, Understanding Reporting. My name is Dr. Durgesh Tripathi. I am Associate Professor, Department of Journalism and Mass Communication. And the main objective of this course and unit is the role of a reporter in a democracy. Realize that a reporter is a mirror of the society he or she represents. Introduce you to what is news and how does a reporter decide to follow a story. Understand the role of a modern day reporter and traditional media organizations. And after completion of this unit, you may be able to discuss about and you may be able to understand about the students. After completion of this unit, students and learners can be able to appreciate the difference between just a reporter and journalist and realize the significance of mirroring of society and the represent, and understand the importance of news stories and be able to identify them. Would like to introduce about some of the key factors about the same as we embark to get a deep understanding of the most exciting and important aspect of journalism reporting. It is important to understand at the outset what is the purpose of reporting, and the act of reporting is a part of the whole, but in many ways it is a whole in itself. Hence, it is critical to get a deep perspective of the role of a reporter in the larger context of democracy and the part of the plays in giving access to citizens to information, and also the need for sound understanding of the subject. In the digital world, where there is an information overdose, journalists are no more gatekeepers of information as they were in the pre-digital social media world. Now, journalism role has genuinely graduated to that of a watchdog. Fact checking and every piece of information has become a prerequisite. It is now under the reporter's ambit to actively give context to all the information and knowledge he writes about, and this unit gives context to the reporter's job of why gathering news is important for the development of a society and the role verified information plays in a democracy. Yet again, students need to know that media is but a reflection of society, and a reporter's role is steeped in an understanding of the society. And to get this understanding, the reporter must be out on the field interacting and interviewing a wide spectrum of people, questioning elected members of parliament and state assemblies, and giving a voice to the marginalized sections of the society at the same time. It is only then that the reporter is a genuine mirror of the society. This is an ongoing endeavor because a society is a living organism that keeps on changing and evolving. Journalists must have their ears to the ground to be able to represent the concerns of their audience. As a form of government, democracy was the first system to vest all power of choice in the people and not in a single man or woman as in a monarchy or in a select group of people. Democracy sustains itself on the idea that people are the masters of their own fate and always have the final say in the form of government that rules them. A democracy is strengthened by the institutions that build them, and the four pillars that hold a democracy together are the executive, legislature, judiciary and the media. On these four states, the media is said to play the most key role to protect the rights and freedom of the people. The media is not just meant to hold truth to power by constantly questioning and keeping track of those in power, but the media also helps ordinary citizens make informed democratic decisions. In today's day and age, democracy has been reduced to the entire process of elections, but a diligent media that constantly keeps those in power under check helps citizens make much better informed choices on a daily basis. For example, through detailed investigative reporting, if journalists can uncover a scandal that is coming at the cost of public money, or there is a breach to ethics while the government is handing our contracts or favoring certain parties oblique business houses over others, it only empowers citizens. Once this information is revealed and out in the public domain, citizen groups, activists and other stakeholders can mobilize to pressurize the government to take action and be more transparent. Democracy sustains itself on information. Even during elections, citizens are expected to make decisions based on information they have been provided by the parties or candidates. But at the same time, is the role of media to ensure that the information the candidates are giving are accurate and can be relied upon. Once the elections are completed, a media that is merciless will keep track of the promises and made by the party or candidates that have been elected to power to ensure that they are delivering on the promises made in a timely manner. Apart from being a watchdog for the people against those in power, the media also acts as a mirror to society and the direction in which it is moving. The media, through its reportage and incessant coverage, can definitely the way issues in societies are perceived and can make people more conscious and aware of things that they would not take seriously otherwise. One example of this can be the 2012 Nirbhaya gang rape case in New Delhi, in the wake of which the media played a controlled role in raising several issues, but the safety of women in public spaces. Another such example was the widespread coverage the media gave women during the Me Too movement that broke out in India in late 2018. And the widespread coverage provided by the media encouraged many women to come out with their stories of physical, mental and sexual harassment or abuse that they might have faced, both at home or in their workplaces. It helped raise more awareness about mental health issues and the mental trauma with which victims of harassment live with, so that it also made men and women in power more aware of their actions and how it might affect people around them. Companies took more proactive cognizance about sexual harassment guidelines and redressal method in their own workplaces. Adding to the fact that media acts as a mirror to society, talking about its weakest while holding the most powerful to account, the media, since the time it came into being, has also been the first record of history. Events that later go down as historic milestone in mankind are first reported and recorded by the media. A lot of times the media persons and journalists covering such events might not even know the historic significance of the events they are covering. For example, during the final of the US Open in 2019, the prestigious Grand Slam tennis tournament, 21-year-old Naomi Osaka was up against 23-time major champion Serena Williams. All odds were stacked in favor of Williams, who is considered to be one of the greatest tennis players of the time. However, on the day Osaka came out shining and beat the world champion, becoming the first ever Japanese player to ever win a Grand Slam title. She also became one of the youngest players in the history to win a major Grand Slam title. Journalists covering the match witnessed something that will go down in the history of sport in tennis in the US Open and the context of Japanese tennis. A sharp journalist is one who can recognize, record and describe these various elements that created the historic moment and place in this context, and the emotion that players felt, the way the crowd reacted, the atmosphere in the stadium, these central aspects of the event that can never be recreated. Years later, when someone is writing about the history of tennis or the history of Japanese tennis or the history of the US Open, it is these media reports that captured the events of the day that will be referred to. If we discuss about journalist and reporter, the same or different, and to explain the difference between a journalist and reporter would be like asking what is the difference between a football player and a striker. The latter belongs as a subset to the former, and the role of a reporter is much more refined within the space of journalism. But to be a journalist, you do not necessarily have to be a reporter. A journalist is someone who collects, collates and disseminates information on public affairs, politics, sports and society in general. This information dissemination can happen through various mediums like print, digital, video or television broadcast. The reporter plays a central role in this entire operation of news dissemination, but there are various other stakeholders who are involved in this process like sub-editors, video editors, senior editors, broadcasters, news anchors, and form a part of this entire operation of news collection and dissemination, and usually call themselves journalists. On the other hand, a reporter plays a much more specific and direct role in this process, as she is expected to go out on the field and directly collect the information first hand. This can either happen through interviews, press conferences or live reporting from an event that is taking place. The reporter usually relays first hand information from the scene of action, which is usually refined or repackaged, and it is then presented or dispatched as news. The skill of a good reporter is that she knows where to locate a story and build relevance around it. This usually happens through good sources a reporter might have through her experience on this field. Reporters have to be extremely accurate and precise with the way they gather and report information, as a misrepresentation of facts or figures can bring total disrepute to the organization they work for. Reporters also need to be extremely persistent and diligent with their news gathering activities, especially if they are pursuing stories that might make people uncomfortable revealing. Therefore, during a press conference or an interviews, a good reporter will ask the subject questions that are detailed, specific, and yet at the same time covers things that the subject might not want to reveal. In today's digital age, the role of a journalist has evolved massively. Earlier, journalists would be people employed by a newspaper, television channels or newswire services. However, with the emergence of web journalism, blogging and microblogging websites, the nature of news gathering and dissemination has evolved massively. Thank you again. Thank you watching this video. We are presenting this video and e-context for you with the help of Department of Journalism and Mass Communication, Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar Open University, Ahmedabad. Thank you.